thing is, people get excited about explosive players during double game weeks, right? But a lot of the time, they don't play 180 minutes. And now, a lot of people might not agree with me, but I'm pretty certain last season, a lot of people stuck it on Sane, and they got 3 points out of it. I don't
Yeah,
know. Well,
I remember that.
you weren't one of them. Yeah, but a lot of people did that because, Man City are killing it. They've got two easy fixtures. I'm going to put it on Sonny. Now, first of all, relying on somebody not to get rotated at Man City, you're already dicing with death there. But to use your triple captain on it and think, oh, it's a double game week. I mean, a double game week, usually the games are like 3 or 4 days apart. Even explosive players get rested, or if they don't start a game, they'll get brought on for like 20 or 30 minutes. Now, the fact that they're explosive means that they might even explode in 20, 30 minutes, but then again, they might not. Last season, I used my triple captain on Mane. I saved it till like the second to last game of the season, and he got 15 points, and triple captain, that's 45 points, which is better than all my other triple captains, which were in a double game week. So
I do remember that.
That's just my piece on that. To everyone who's listening out there, don't necessarily think that a double game week is the best time to use a triple captain, because sometimes, or a lot of the time, the player you put it on is not going to play 180 minutes. And it's happened so often in the past, not just to me, but to lots of FPL managers. You know the risk is there.
You're all about to witness a monumental throwdown.
We're back. Welcome back. FPL Bros is back for episode 15. Hope you're all doing well out there. We're still about halfway through game week 20, so we'll have a look at some of the games which are yet to play, but still we'll also have a look at what's coming up on New Year's Day. And so it's just the two of us today. It's Koj and Derek.
Yeah.
How you doing, Derek?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Seen better days, but hanging in there.
Yeah. Okay. Here comes the slightly painful or not so painful section of scores, depending on how you look at it. Are we looking back at 2 weeks worth of scores?
Yeah, I reckon we should start from game week 18.
Okay then. So, game week 18, I scored 47 points, which is a little bit disappointing. But then, like a lot of people, I had Son in my team, and he just didn't do anybody any favours with the sending off. And then... Yeah, exactly. And then, it seems to be a recent theme with me. I had Cantwell on the bench, third on my bench, as a matter of fact, with 10 points. To be fair, they were playing Wolves, and I just honestly thought that Norwich would not do anything against them, seeing as Wolves just seemed to take it to everybody. But he did enough, and I could have used that extra 10 points. And then everybody else really didn't do an awful lot. But things perked up considerably. Game week 19, where I rolled in with 68 points, and I think they're the heroes for me. Was obviously Trent with just quite frankly probably astronomical score of 24.
Yeah.
And then Jimenez as well. But then I had Troy again, third on my bench, 13, but without labouring the point. Again, he's playing Man City. I don't really expect him to do much there at all. So 68 points, that was like nearly 20 above average, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Yeah, so game week 18, I didn't do too well. Came in with 43 points. Luckily, I didn't have Son, but I did have Kane as my captain, who was quite disappointing. I had some bench fodder, which were wasting some space. So Pulisic with 0 points because he didn't play. And obviously I had the West Ham defender Diop and I had Mane. So as a result of that, I decided to make some changes to my team. So having taken a look at the next week, I still played Pulisic, but this time around, I think it was, who was it I brought in? No, it wasn't that week, apologies. It was this week I took some of the guys out because, I played Pulisic once again, and he scored me a one-pointer in game week 19, which was quite disappointing.
Yeah.
And I finished game week 19 with 56 points, which wasn't very great. Relied on Kane again as captain, and he delivered 16 points, so I was quite happy about that. But on my bench, I did have Greenwood as my third sub, who had 8 points. I didn't expect him to start, to be fair, so fair play.
Yeah, Greenwood, he's doing it.
Yeah, he had a brilliant goal as well, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And some people have just been saying that I think all the talk is about how he's two-footed, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah, so there should be more from him to come. Okay, we are recording a little bit late this time around. As I mentioned, we're halfway through Game Week 20. Do you want to have a run the rule very briefly over the games that have been played because we didn't get a chance to preview them?
Yeah,
There's a
sure. Let's
few
go
talk.
through from Game
Yeah.
Week 18 and have a look at some of the games and some of the shock results we might say or expected results. We can look at either one.
All right then. Well, from Game Week 18, yes, I think people were probably a little bit shocked about Everton drawing with Arsenal, but
Yeah.
like I said, just Arsenal are just so, I don't know, they're just so limp. They're like ghosts.
Hmm.
Like I just don't expect them to do much. I really thought Everton would score though, but sometimes when teams have a lot to lose, they just get nervous and nothing really happens. So that's my take on that score. And then we had the Man City game, which was probably not entirely expected, but what I do want to say is that James, even though he isn't here right now, he called that game exactly as it played out. First of all, he said that Jesus would score, and he did. He said it would be a 3-1 win to Man City, and it was.
Oh my
He
God.
was said that Leicester would give Man City a scare by scoring first, and they did.
Oh my
And
God.
then Man
What?
City's dominance would show. Yes, he said all of that. He actually said all of that. He did. You may scoff, but he predicted that game precisely.
If
So
only
I don't know
if only he could have applied that to his fantasy football team. That kind of
how.
that kind of foresight. He'd definitely
Oh
be
gosh.
a lot higher up in the table.
Yeah, that's all it takes, one or two transfers and he'd be laughing. And then obviously Watford versus Man United.
Watford have come out of the shell, haven't they? Hell,
Yeah.
they beat them convincingly
Yeah.
as well.
Yes, absolutely.
They were having
Man
fun.
United were bereft of ideas, and Watford just kind of ran it, didn't they?
Yeah, but
And
I did say I did call that game because I did say United are used to playing with some of the teams who like to push up, and Watford were just going to hold their line and defend as hard as they could and catch Man United on the counter.
yeah.
Rashford didn't have a sniff of the ball.
No, I mean, it's weird because I say a couple of times that football does not occur in a vacuum. And by that, I mean that if a team is having problems, then managers should or ought to react to that. And if it's obvious to all of us that Man United struggle against teams that defend, then surely it should be obvious to Man United and
Yeah.
anybody else who cares. But for some reason, they seem to have gotten caught out there, and I don't think Watford had any problems at all. Obviously, they've got some dangerous players, De La Feu, Dini, although I don't think he played in that game. Did he? No, he did. Yes, he scored.
He did,
And
yeah. He was
Sarr
brilliant.
as well. Yeah, well, when he's on his game, he's unplayable, that boy. Yeah. And then Sarr is also proving to be somebody who can really trouble opposition defences. And again, it's just like a stop-start-y season for Man United there. It's not bad what they're doing, and the position they're in is not bad, but I know that Man United fans expect to be winning titles and Champions League. So if you've got a manager who can just about manage fourth for you, you're going to be pretty disappointed with that the longer it goes on.
Yeah.
They just don't seem like a table-topping team to me because of the lack of consistency. Anyway, yes, Spurs versus Chelsea as well. I think a lot of people did not expect that game to go.
No chance. I really hyped Jose Mourinho for that game. I was like, he's gonna come and he's gonna take over and show them what he's really made of. He's gonna show him who's boss. Oh, mate, he got absolutely ripped apart.
I know. And to be fair, Spurs, even before they went down to 10 men, they were struggling, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of talk about Lampard getting his tactics right. Although, for me, really, it was all about Willian and Mount. They pretty much ran the game there, and they were the difference. But yes, it was, again, a strangely limp performance from Spurs there. And I think it raises interesting questions about motivation, because sometimes when there's something special about a fixture, you sometimes feel that the script is, oh, so-and-so is going to win, so-and-so is going to want to prove a point. But it doesn't ever really go that way a lot of the time. And yeah, quite a shock there.
You're all about about to witness a monumental throwdown.
Anyway, game week 19. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Chelsea v Southampton. Again, they were involved in another shock result, but at the wrong end this time round. And what I found interesting about that one, that's a game they lost 2-0 for those of you who don't know. Who was it? Obafemi, yeah, and
Yeah,
Redmond
with Femi.
scoring.
That goal was amazing.
It was really good actually, and Redmond's wasn't bad either. But I think I read somewhere somebody said like, look, Chelsea really need to be ashamed of themselves because out of all the people at Southampton to score against them, those two shouldn't have been scoring.
Yeah.
Especially Redmond, who's known for taking lots of shots and getting in the right position all the time and just never delivering. But what I found interesting is that after that game, Frank Lampard actually came out and criticised his players. He didn't seem like that type of manager to me. I don't know. What did you make of that?
Well, I think sometimes you just have to say as it is, and I think that's what he did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes you just have to. There's
Yeah.
no point beating around the bush and being two-faced about it. You can't be doing a Mikel Arteta. Do you know what I mean? Just have to say as it is.
Yeah, but again, well, I suppose he does praise his players a lot of the time.
He does.
But he also says, he's also been saying for a while, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, because things can change quite quickly. And obviously they did right there and then.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a tricky one, really, because Sir Alex Ferguson famously always defended his players in public, but you knew he was kicking their behind closed doors, didn't you? Maybe, again, it's more to Lampard than meets the eye. And he's got that part, his management style, maybe he's getting that part of it right. And then, obviously, how do I put this? The watershed result was at the King Power Stadium. Watershed for many reasons. But I think one of the most eye-opening reasons was Trent Alexander-Arnold being directly involved in 4 goals. Well, from a fantasy perspective, because obviously the Premier League doesn't count kicking a ball into somebody's hand and winning the penalty as an assist.
Yeah.
But we do in fantasy football, so we'll take that. Yeah, and Leicester just absolutely having the floor wiped.
I mean, Leicester were completely outplayed by Liverpool. And that was one of the best performances I've seen from Liverpool. And something which I've said previously, probably not in the podcast, but just to yourself and James, is that everyone's been saying Liverpool are winning games. However, they're not at their full throttle yet. They're not playing their best football. And it's scary to know that a team like that are performing so well. However, they're not playing their best. And this is what happens when they play their best. This is one of the best games they've had all season. And it just goes to show with their closest rivals in the league, a team who has been in great form, they just got blown out of the water.
Totally. And
Klopp also made a point to make sure that he wanted Liverpool to keep clean sheets, and they've kept clean sheets in their last 3 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Interestingly enough, without Fabinho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was remarkable. But yes, everything went right for them. They just got the whole thing right. I read somewhere that Brendan Rodgers, effed it up a bit by sticking Maddison out on the left, and obviously that just ended up giving Trent too much freedom. But even then, we all know how dangerous.
Even then, the midfield was completely dominated by Hendo, Gini, and Keita. It was just complete domination.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it gets a while to get the mentality right, even if you have been playing well. I guess it was just a bit too soon for Leicester. Who knows? Anyhow, obviously another watershed result. Very following day, Wolves beating Man City 3-2.
Amazing game.
It was, because Wolves and Man City are actually 2 very good teams.
Yeah.
And they played some really good football.
Definitely.
Both amazing stuff. The sending off. Now, here's the thing. Do you think perhaps the way that Man City play with a keeper who's effectively a sweeper a lot of the time, that means they're more susceptible to him getting sent off? Because it's not the first time this season. He got sent off in the Champions League as well, Edison, didn't he?
Yeah, but you have to remember, City are not very strong defensively at the moment. If they had strong defenders to cover, keeper wouldn't necessarily need to be doing crazy runs up the field like he is.
Maybe, but it is part of their game, though. I mean, we've always known that Pep likes a ball-playing goalkeeper, And that's how he does it, because he effectively gives himself 11 outfield players. I don't know. I don't think he ever got sent off last season, so maybe it's just one of those things. All right, then. Very briefly, the results we've had so far. So we've had 7 games, actually. An absolute packed schedule on this Saturday between New Year's Day and Christmas. Or Boxing Day, rather, I should say. Nothing really stands out an awful lot, although I suppose Watford tonking Aston Villa 3-0. Maybe not a lot of people would have seen that happening.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely say one thing. Watford have definitely come out of their shell. They've had 3 great results in the last 3 games they've played, and they are looking stronger and stronger now.
Yep,
And
most definitely.
they're definitely, we had this conversation last week about, not last week, last podcast about if Watford and Norwich are still whipping boys, and I would say Watford are definitely not whipping boys anymore. They're definitely a team to be respected in the sense that you don't expect to go there and have an easy game.
No. And apparently, Pearson took the unusual step of publicising their training regime, and it was all about the hard work, the hard running, the hard graft, and it's clearly paying off.
Yeah.
So yes, they're not an easy ride, and the thing is, they're in it for the long haul because they need to get themselves out of trouble, and it's quite tight down there now. Again, Norwich, you quite rightly pointed out that they're always going to concede goals, but still, they're also going to always hurt you as well. They're quite capable of doing that. The amount of chances Pukki has had over the past 2 or 3 game weeks have just been unreal. The amount of one-on-ones he's getting, and I suppose even though if you give him 10 of those, he's going to maybe score 1. But that's just a sign more of a championship striker than a Premier League one. Because a lot of those he really should have been scoring. So although Norwich probably aren't going to get themselves out of trouble, it's not looking like it, they're probably going to kill you clean sheet, which is not ideal. But there you go, as Spurs found out to their detriment. But speaking of clean sheets, a clean sheet for Manchester United. Who would have thought? Again, there's something funny going on at Burnley. And there's something funny going on at Bournemouth, for that matter, because it's an alarming slide, and I know they have an alarming slide most of the time, but I really would have thought they'd pull themselves out of it by now. But it's taking a little bit longer than it should be, maybe. Do you think the owners at Bournemouth are going to panic a bit?
They're definitely going to panic. I mean, they're having a nightmare at the moment.
To be fair, I think they've had a lot of injuries, though.
Regardless, they shouldn't be getting destroyed 2-0 by Brighton. I watched the game, and I'm telling you, Watford had nothing. They literally created nothing, and Brighton dominated them the whole game. And this is Brighton, and we're talking about Bournemouth, who last year the managers was thought about as one of the best managers out there, young managers.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, let's see. Maybe they need some of their players to come back. Apparently, so I've been told, Bournemouth's run is looking quite encouraging at the moment. But do you want to touch them? Is Callum Wilson going to find it again?
Oh, I definitely want to touch him.
Are we going to see the Ryan Fraser of last season? Ryan Fraser, what happened to him? So disappointing.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth are 2 points away from being in the relegation zone, so...
Yeah. At some point, the owners, and maybe, who knows, maybe even the fans, might get sick of having to do this every single season. I think they certainly got tired of it at Sunderland, didn't they? Not that they made a difference. They got tired of it at Crystal Palace, and for a change, they are looking like a team which actually stays up now. But do you really want to see your team slide right down to 17th every season, and then pull it out and then bounce back up to 12th or 13th every single season? At some point you want to start finishing at the top half of the table.
Yeah, real.
What's the point? How are you going to get better players?
Yeah.
How are you going to, yeah, it's an interesting one. Because I don't want to speak too soon, because they always manage it every season. But see, that's another thing about football not happening in a vacuum. It's all very well your team doing badly or your team doing well, but it also depends on how badly or how well everybody else is doing.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
Everyone around them in the bottom half are starting to either win or draw games. Norwich have started winning and drawing games. Watford have started winning games. Villa are not doing great, but in their last 3 games, they've had a win.
Yeah, I mean, Villa are capable of getting results.
Yeah,
And then they've got players who can hurt you. Well,
yeah,
a player who can hurt you.
yeah,
They've got one
exactly.
player who
One
can
player.
hurt you. But
I, I
yeah,
personally, I believe at the end of the season, Villa and Norwich are going down. I should say Norwich and Villa because Norwich are already at the bottom, but
yes.
Norwich and Villa are going down, and then
Uh-huh.
the third position is going to be quite tight because
Yeah.
you've got Watford,
Hmm.
who are now playing better. You've got
Yeah.
West Ham,
Mm.
who we'll go into in a second, but they've just sacked their manager and are
Right.
potentially linked to Moyes now. So
Mm-hmm.
Pellegrini's gone. You've
Mm-hmm.
got Bournemouth, who are playing atrocious football, who
Yeah.
are not going to sack. Is it Eddie Howe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to sack him, but
No.
something needs to change. And then you've got
Yeah.
Southampton, who are playing great football now.
Mm.
So it's like it's between West Ham
Mm.
And Watford are definitely not going to go down without a fight. So
Without a fight, no. Watford are making a go of it, definitely. With
yeah,
West Ham, I noticed that Fabianski's back. I don't know
he
if that's
is.
going to instill the defence with a bit more confidence. There's no doubt he's a quality keeper. Sorry, go on.
I said I don't think so.
It's
I don't think
a
so.
cold, cold world out there. Harsh.
I just think they need to
Easy.
change something, and I'm glad they sacked Pellegrini because I didn't see him doing anything different.
Yeah, but well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, fair enough. If you've got a manager, you want to see an improvement, but could he have done with a bit more time? Really, because it wasn't his fault that Fabianski got injured, and he's got Wilshire in there, but that boy never ever seems to be fit. Lanzini's capable of doing things, but then he has his fitness problems as well. And
Mm.
then who else? Yeah, it's a weird one. They brought Haller in. He started the season off fairly decently, and then the goals dried up for him. Antonio looked like he could have been the answer. But I mean, I didn't see their last game. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about how it seemed like Pellegrini had run out of ideas. But we're talking about a guy here who, he did it with Man City, he did it with Real Madrid. I mean, he's definitely got it in him to do things. But if you keep chopping and changing managers, I don't know. I did read somewhere that if you're in the relegation zone, sacking your manager only works about half the time.
Yeah.
I do feel sorry for Pellegrini because he's obviously a good manager. And sometimes I wonder whether these people deserve to have a bit more time. Again, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you want to see signs of improvement. Some people think they asked for too much at West Ham because it
Yeah.
was only a few seasons ago that they were still in the Championship, weren't they? But, if I knew the answer, I would not be sitting here, would I?
No.
I'd be earning big bucks. It's worth money knowing the answer to these kind of questions.
You're all about to witness a monumental throwdown.
Okay, right.
Right,
In terms of
should we go through some of the players from
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to do. In
Alright.
fact, I'm just going to go right out there and say Sidibe, because I know you've got him in already, that he is definitely one to watch, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, obviously you think the same as well. I think when Ancelotti's first game, he played a 3-4-3 and he stuck Sidibe out on the wing. So he's basically doing what Conte used to do with Alonso,
Yeah.
which we know got everybody in the FPL completely wet at the time. Some people still haven't quite dried out from
and he doesn't rotate with Baines, whereas Digne rotates with Baines, so he's more secured.
Yes, yeah. I mean, although effectively he's a right back and so is Coleman, and Coleman, I think, still has something to offer Everton. So I don't know if he's going to. But then, did he play Coleman? Who did he play in the back three? It was Holgate, Mina, and
It wasn't Coleman. It was Baines, Holgate, Keane, and Sidibe.
Keane. So he played
Keane.
Keane in the back three. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see what's going to happen there. But the fact is, apparently, even before Ancelotti turned up, under Ferguson, Sidibe was delivering the crosses. And he already had an assist, didn't he?
Yeah.
And we know that Everton have got it in them to keep clean sheets because they managed it towards the end of last season with Silva. They've got the England #1 in goal there. Keane is no mug. Yerry Mina, obviously, he's capable of being a decent defender. Holgate, apparently, is showing some potential now. And then what do you pay for Sidibe? Is it like 5.3?
5.3 is what I paid, yeah. They've got a good side, I think. Hello?
Hello?
You went mute for a sec.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Crap. I was saying so much insightful stuff.
Oh,
Okay, I'll just keep it short. But basically, Sidibe is looking good. He is capable of delivering crosses. He's got some strikers to aim at,
Yeah,
and Ancelotti's obviously a good manager. This
yeah,
could be exciting.
yeah. On that note, I'd also add Dominic Calvert-Lewin to
Hmm.
the Everton list, not just because he scored three goals in the last two game weeks, but because
Yeah,
I actually think he is their go-to forward, and
he's
Richarlison
looking
is going
that
to be
way, isn't he?
supporting him.
Yep.
And I just think with the new manager coming to place, he looks really good to me. Like he looks like he's got his shooting boots on. And I
Mm.
think at the price he's going for, he's a
Yep.
really good differential and he's a
Yep.
really cheap striker to have
No,
available.
I've got
And
my eye
especially with
on him.
Everton's fixtures coming up.
Yeah, he's 5.7 million, and we're being spoilt with kind of cheapish or mid-range strikers
Yeah.
this season. There's a lot of choice out there. Obviously,
Hmm.
Ings is doing it, Jimenez is doing it. Vardy's showing it. He never really went away, and I think he's more than 10 million now, but a lot of us got him when he was less than 10 million. And even Rashford, even though he's probably not doing quite as much as he should be doing, he's still less than 10 million. So there's plenty of choice out there with strikers. So we're being spoiled at the moment, and DCL could be the next one that we all need to jump on. I don't see why not at all. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. But yeah, actually, the West Ham news was interesting as well because should we suddenly be starting to think about them and them having a new manager bounce? Or
It
it's a bit
is
too
it is
early to
very
tell?
interesting because like if you think about West Ham,
Yeah,
they've been in the Premier League for so long and always finished a decent position.
that's right.
So if they've been underperforming
Mm,
and you expect them to start performing to get to where they need to be, they're going to start overperforming. So you might need to start looking at some assets.
yeah,
Today, Anderson was involved in assists, so he could be one to maybe look
yeah,
at in the future. And maybe that striker they had as well, who was scoring a few goals at the start of the season, Hala, and he had some
hello. Yeah.
popularity, but people dropped off. He could be one to also keep an eye on. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Potentially Antonio, who looks like he could be paying up front.
Yeah.
Whoever comes in, I would be surprised if they didn't give that a go with him because he's got it all: the pace, the power. He's good with his head.
Hmm.
He's decent with his feet as well, and he'll run.
Yeah.
And then obviously Lanzini is capable of producing the goods. Snodgrass, there was a time when he was everything he touched turned to gold. He's been one of the few players who's been doing it for West Ham as well. So we'll have to see. There's a lot of competition in their midfield. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see what happens there. I still don't like their defense. Apart from Fabianski, the defense just gives me nightmares.
You're all about to witness a monumental throwdown.
Actually, that brings us on to something actually I did want to mention. So the double game week has been announced. First double game week has been announced. Did you see that?
Yeah, game week 24, I believe.
That's right. 20 week 24, both Liverpool and West Ham have got their double game week. Actually, I don't know why I'm talking about West Ham because what I was going to say is that in the past, West Ham have had double game weeks, and I thought, oh, I need to get on their assets. And I get on them, and I've gotten like 1 or 2 points out of them. And for me, their defense is just a horror show. Always has been, always will be. I get cold sweats thinking about West Ham's defending. Although Fabianski has done well for me in the past. But yeah, just wanted to talk about the double game week. Obviously, Liverpool are away to Wolves and away to West Ham in their double game week. And for what it's worth, obviously West Ham are going to have Liverpool, but what else have they also
They've got Leicester.
Leicester. Okay, yeah. So screw that. Liverpool, let's concentrate on them. Now, for any other team, Wolves away and to a lesser extent West Ham away wouldn't be the most attractive of fixtures. We're talking about Liverpool here, and I think it's obvious to anybody, unless you've been living on a cave in the moon with your hands over your eyes and ears, that Liverpool can just about do the business against anybody in the Premier League. They're fixture proof. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come right out there and say it. I am going into that game week with 3 Liverpool players. I don't care what
100%.
anybody says. Yeah, man.
100%.
Why wouldn't you? Why the hell wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Obviously, anything can happen between now and then. Although I don't think the Champions League starts again until February. Have I got that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So game week 24 is the end of January. What also makes it doubly interesting is that Liverpool's game against Wolves is on a Thursday, and then they've got 6 days until they play West Ham.
Yeah,
So the
it's really
chances
good.
of rotation are pretty minuscule. I would like to think, because is it the third round of the FA Cup that weekend?
I'm not too
Or
sure.
maybe even the fourth. Anyway, if they are playing the FA Cup that weekend, I mean, I know like Liverpool are a big team and Klopp is an honest manager, but he still might think, oh, nah, screw it. I want to nail this Premier League. We're doing well in the Champions League. When people talk about the double, what they really mean is the Champions League and the Premier League. No, okay, I'm being facetious now. But I would like to think that we are going to get two strong Premier League teams. I could be wrong, but I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is there, and I'm going to stock up. At the moment, I'm thinking I've got Salah and TAA, and neither of them are going anywhere.
Yeah.
I may just plump for Mane. I've got KDB, and I might swap him out for Mane if the timing's right, because that just makes complete sense to me. I don't know. What do you think?
I think Mane is definitely needed, but I would not have the balls to lose KDB from my team because he can just punish people. I would probably lose Dele Alli
Okay.
just because Spurs fixtures are not that favourable in the next couple of weeks. So they've got Liverpool.
Yeah.
Then, if I'm not mistaken, they have Watford. That's okay, but I'm sure they had one of the other bigger teams as well afterwards.
I think you're right. See, that's the thing. Spurs aren't quite back to the glory days of Poch, are they? In
No.
that they're still kind of blowing hot and cold. They've got good players who can get you points, but it doesn't do to rely on them, does it? Too much.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But that's my thing. I don't want to get rid of De Bruyne because I need a City asset. Because when City explode and other people will have City assets, you'd be burnt. Whereas I don't see Spurs exploding as much.
No.
So,
I would love to make the most of it because just imagine, right? I don't know what it's going to be worth in terms of points, but if Liverpool manage one clean sheet in that game, TA gets 2 assists, Mane and Salah get a goal each in all those games. What is that worth in points? That's got to be like 50 points right there
yeah.
from 3 players in one game week. I mean, that's just insane. And then if you captain one of them, exactly. Even before you captain one of them. So I guess I have my team structure, and it's possible that I could go forward with KDB, Mane, and Salah. I just don't know how I would do it though. I would probably have to punt Zaha out, and his days are numbered in my team as well. A lot of people, quite understandably, might say to me, just get rid of Zaha now. But I still have faith in the boy, and he didn't cost me a hell of a lot. See, that's the thing. People are going, oh, Zaha's rubbish. I don't know why I have him in this team. I'm getting rid of him. I've had enough of him. He should have scored in that game. He should have assisted in that one. But the thing about Zaha is this. First of all, he doesn't cost a hell of a lot. I don't know what people are expecting. He's not like 9 million or 10 million and you expect like a goal or an assist every week. Okay? 6.6. He's just about doing what he should be doing, really. It's nothing spectacular, but he's not eating up a lot of your budget. Secondly, he's going to play 90 minutes. They need him at Crystal Palace, all right? They're not quite out of the woods yet. He's capable of doing it. Sometimes it just comes out of nowhere with him. Again, that's good enough for me. He's still getting into the box. He still gets fouled a lot. If he gets fouled a lot in the box and Milivojevic takes a penalty, then again, that's a 5-point game. But his price, great. Thirdly, he's still taking the most touches in the box out of all the Crystal Palace players, which again is likely to lead to something. So I'm leaving Zaha where he is. But if I was to try and get Mane in, then I would probably have to fiddle around by maybe saving some cash with Rashford. I've looked into that. Or I would get rid of Pereira because I'm still rolling with him. I know most people prefer to have Soyuncu out of the lesser defence, but I went with Pereira. And he is one of the highest scoring defenders in the game. So I think I got that right, frankly. But we'll have to see. Or I might just have Salah, Robertson and TAA. That's an option. Robertson's still about. Obviously, he's been outshone recently. He's still capable of doing it. Yeah.
Time will tell.
Yeah, I might do Pereira to Robertson. We will see. But yes, I'm definitely very, very excited about that. And, it might even be a triple captain. I mean, I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, triple captain's always good to use for a double game week. And
Wisdom. But go on, sorry.
And I was saying, and due to the timing between the games, you can expect that Salah should play both. So that's an option.
Yeah. I think that people get a little bit too excited about triple captaining in a double game week because, first of all, it's not really ever been that hugely productive for me. Since I introduced the triple captainship, I used it on a double game week on Aguero and I got 27 points out of it, which is okay, I suppose. And then, no, the very first season I used it, I put it on Juan Mata. He played 90 minutes in both games, but he only scored 3 points. So I got points out of it then, which was very disappointing. You know, Man United won both those games and he didn't do anything. Then I used it on Aguero and I got 27 points out of it, which was great. Then I used it on Lukaku and he played 90 minutes for the first game and I scored 8 points. Great. Second game, he didn't start. He came off from a 1-pointer. So again, in the end, I got 10 points out of it. And after that, I thought about it logically. Having said that, the Liverpool won. Even though there might be an FA Cup game in between those two games, I still feeling pretty good about it. And I have to admit, the temptation is high for me. It really is. Because in a normal double game week, the chances are an explosive player isn't going to play 180 minutes. And that's my bit there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that
one. Yeah.
You're all about to witness a monumental throwdown.
Okay. Shall we do player picks and predictions now?
Yeah, sure.
All right, then. So, as I said at the top of the show, we've still got 3 games left.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give our thoughts on that, then. So,
yeah, sure.
They're big ones, relatively big ones.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock, we have Arsenal v Chelsea at the Emirates.
So, obviously, this is a quite important game because the 4th spot in the top 4 is actually open for the taking now.
Yeah, I think it is.
You got Chelsea with 32 points currently hogging it with 19 games played. And you got United with 31 points with 20 games played.
Yeah.
So, not to mention you have Tottenham with 30 points with 20 games played as well. So there's very little between the 32 points and 30 points. And just to add to the troubles, you have teams which you didn't expect to be looking at occupying this spot currently hovering, like Wolves and Sheffield, who have games in hand as well. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I do think Arsenal know if they can get a win, they'll be on 27 points and they'll be straight back into the top 4 race, which is actually very possible for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly what they want and it's what they expect. And I would be very surprised if everybody in the club wasn't working towards that. Because it's the minimum for Arsenal, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think all the Tottenham fans and United fans will be rooting on Arsenal to win tomorrow.
It's going to be an interesting one because there's bound to be a bit of rotation, certainly from Chelsea's side, because Frank has now shown that he doesn't mind swapping his players around a lot now. I don't know what Arsenal's plans are. I've already said that I'm not sure Arteta is the right choice, and the jury's still out for me. I've already given my reasons for that. But if you'd asked me what this score would have been like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I said, Chelsea will probably win. But I'm not so sure because then Chelsea look a bit rattled to me.
Yeah, Chelsea's recent fixtures have kind of made me lose faith in them that I did previously have. And it doesn't help that Tammy hasn't been scoring, which is obviously their main go-to striker. So as poor as Arsenal have been, and I think the stat was they've only won 1 of their last 11 Premier League games, which is terrible.
You're kidding.
Yeah, they've only won 1 of their last 11 Premier League games. However, they've only lost 1 of their last 6 games in the Emirates against Chelsea.
Yeah,
so they've got that mentality that, okay, we might lose to your casuals, you know, at the bottom of the table, but when we come to play the big guns like Chelsea, we're going all out and we're definitely not taking the L. So especially considering Chelsea's recent form, like I said, I can see this either earning us a draw or a miraculous second win for Arsenal's. But yeah, we'll see. It's going to be tight.
I'm going to say draw. I would like to say draw as well. With Chelsea, I mean, I think the problem that Chelsea have got is that Mount and Pulisic, again, they've just kind of hit a bit of a wall, really. It's a shame about Tammy too. I don't know what's going to happen there. Is Batshuayi going to get a start? We shall see. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. again with Arsenal, I mean, their defence is just all over the place. I don't know if Tierney's back. I don't know. I look at that defence and I just see like one of those Afghan quilts with all the holes in it. That's what line reminds me of. Anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be a draw.
Yeah.
Probably a score draw. All right, then Liverpool beat Wolves.
I think that's a Liverpool
unless,
win.
yeah, I mean, unless something really unexpected happens, it's looking like Liverpool will win this one. Again, Wolves are no pushovers, but Liverpool just look like they're capable of beating anybody. Yeah. I mean, the Wolves' defense is good, but it's not solid. Is there any way Wolves might be able to bring a surprise in that game?
No.
I'm thinking blasphemous thoughts. Okay.
No, honestly, I'm not saying this as a Liverpool fan. It's just
Yeah,
they're very tough to beat at the moment.
it's
And
true.
I don't think Wolves have the quality, man for man,
Hmm.
to match up to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Nor do they have the experience of... They haven't beaten Liverpool before.
Oh, okay.
In the last 5 head-to-heads they've had, they haven't beaten Liverpool.
Right.
Liverpool have won an unbeaten run of 46.
Yeah.
46 games, 49 or something.
Yeah, it's
Premier League
possible.
matches unbeaten at home. That's ridiculous.
It's possible. Yes, it is ridiculous. It is. Wolves might even have knackered themselves out with that Man City game. Even though they had a man more, it was still doing a hell of a lot of pressing.
Oh,
That
they
takes
were
it out of
pressing hard.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Actually, one thing I want to say about Liverpool. Do you think Firmino's coming back into a bit of form? Because he does have these streaks, doesn't he?
Firmino is loving life right now.
Mm.
Loving life.
I mean, he did it in Qatar and he scored twice against Leicester. So could he also be one to watch? I don't know. How much is he at the moment?
It's 9, but I don't know.
Oh, really? So when it comes to the double, maybe he could be one as well. Who knows? I'd certainly be able to get him in quite easily.
I did think about him for the double, to be very honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be a differential, I think, at this stage. Yeah. All right, then. Fairly uncontroversial home win there. Man City and Sheffield United.
Before yesterday's game, I would have said City to win this, but Sheffield could throw up a massive shock. I don't know.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you don't think of Sheffield United as a big scoring team, although they have won games scoring 2 or 3 goals. I mean, they famously put 3 past Man United, even though they didn't win that game. And they don't make it easy for you when you do attack them. On the other hand, Man City are used to winning games.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I don't know. What was I thinking before? I was probably going to say a Man City win. I may well bench Lundstrom. No, I have benched Lundstrom. What am I talking about? But he's probably going to come on anyway because there was so much rotation this week.
Yeah.
But...
I played him. I had him benched and I thought, you know what? The City defense are really poor at the moment.
That's true.
Really shaky. They don't have their usual keeper. And Lundstrom's always bombing up front. I can see them conceding a goal from City.
Actually, the funny thing about Sheffield United is that the goals are coming from all... Yeah, the goals are coming from all over at the moment. Like, they don't seem to have to rely on Musette as much.
No.
And Fleck chipping in, you've got Baldock chipping in.
Yeah.
Like, they're all at it, apart from that kid McGoldrick, though. When will he ever score? But anyway, he really should have had a goal. Was it playing where he rounded the keeper, but he still fluffed his line?
I don't think I saw that.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, I think it was against Brighton. He went round the keeper, and I'm thinking, you've got to hit the target, son. And it just went into the side netting, and I just thought, oh god. Anyway, I'm not sure about this one. I'm going to chicken out and say a City win.
Okay, fair enough.
Because they're at home and they are the bigger team. And sometimes he's properly miffed about the Wolves result.
Yeah.
You're all about to witness a monumental throwdown.
Then moving on to the bigger games on New Year's Day. The first big one is 12:30, Brighton versus Chelsea.
That should be a good game.
Yes, it should actually, because Potter's really got Brighton playing now.
Yep. So I reckon Chelsea may win that one, but Brighton are probably going to give them a good run and score a goal or two.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I can see goals in that game, definitely. Definitely, for sure. Newcastle v Leicester?
Oh, that's an easy Leicester win. Vardy's back.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Although, see, I said with Newcastle that they don't need to go gung ho, right now because
Mm.
they're not quite out of the woods yet. And what did they do? They went gung ho against Man United. Probably thought they were there for the taking, and which I can see why they thought that, but they got punished, didn't they? Will they play it safe again? Who knows?
Hopefully not.
No, I can see why you'd say that. I don't know. If Newcastle know what's good for them, they will play a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1, and they will just stand there in front of Vardy, so you can run all you like. You ain't moving forward. We're not going anywhere. All right. Southampton v Spurs. That's another interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, Southampton in form versus Spurs. I still see Spurs winning that, but I reckon it'll be a good game.
It will. I don't know. Southampton are capable of a shock, aren't they?
They are. I mean, they did it
Yeah.
against Chelsea, so why not against
Yeah.
Spurs?
No, why not? Why not indeed? But I'm not going to put any money on that. Man City versus Everton. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Very, very interesting.
I can see City winning that, but I don't know. I've just got a funny feeling about this game.
Well, Ancelotti, the Italian, might come out in him, and he might think, "Oh, screw this! I've made such a good start at Everton. If I'm not going to win this game, so I'm not going to lose it. But can they hold out for 90 minutes against Man City? That's the question.
I don't think many
They
teams
might.
can, so
No, it's true actually, but again, he's pretty much got the same squad that Silva ended last season on, and they were really good and tight defensively as well. So I don't know if Ancelotti might do something there and frustrate City, but we'll see. And then the game that James called El Sactico well, it is going to be last year when it is played, but earlier on in the season, Arsenal versus Man United.
yeah.
Wow. I don't know what you think.
Get revenge.
Yeah.
I reckon United will win though.
Whew. Let me think. Because Pogba's back now, isn't he? They
He
could,
wasn't taken to today's game, but yeah, he's back.
yeah. Yeah, they could make life difficult for Arsenal. They're not going to like that, the Emirates, though, are they? Where United coming and winning. They're not going to like that at all. But Man United have done it before, so I don't see why they can't do it again.
True.
Yeah. And then Liverpool versus Sheffield United.
I think Liverpool win, but Sheffield will make it easy because they are solid defensively and they do attack.
True. I mean, it was quite close last time around, wasn't it? Yeah.
Took a lot of breaking down to get a goal.
It did, yeah. I don't know. I've been saying for a while that Liverpool might stumble, but they just haven't yet. And
Hopefully they don't.
okay, so I'm going to be brave. I say it every week, don't I? So you can't win all your games, so you might have to settle for a draw there.
Fun.
I know. All right, then. I will let you go first with player picks because I think I nicked all of your players last time round.
I'll just go for two.
Okay.
So the first one I shall go with is probably going to be James Maddison.
Okay.
I just think after the last game and how badly he performed, he's got a lot of making up to do. Newcastle are not the best defensively. Maddison's probably going to have a whale of a time threading balls through or taking shots himself against them.
True.
So, yeah, I just think Newcastle are probably going to have a tough time dealing with Leicester. And Maddison's going to play a key part in that. So that's my first player pick, James Maddison.
Okay.
My second player pick is going to be Anthony Martial.
Ooh.
And with Arsenal's defence the way it is, I can see United taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
This is quite a big game, so anything can happen. However, if United manage to get a grip of the game from the start, I can see Martial causing a lot of problems for Arsenal. So yeah, those are my two player picks.
No, it's true. If he brings his A game,
Yeah.
he brings it. All right, cool. Yeah, it's also going to be two for me as well, probably. So the first one I'm going to mention is Sterling. People have forgotten Sterling, and I think that they might regret having forgotten about him because obviously the last game he had, it was a weird one, wasn't it? Because he did miss a penalty, but then he also scored twice. So 10 points is nothing to be sniffed at. And if he gets that right, i.e. doesn't miss the penalty, 10 points and some bonus, and you're looking at a double-figure haul there. He's been pretty much a mainstay of the Man City side for now.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I think you have to also remember, though, that City are probably going to think now that they're out of the title race for the Prem, they might not play all their big players. They might start playing the Fodens and so on and focus more on Champions League. So you might have to be careful.
I was going to mention.
Did you hear what I
Can you
said?
hear? No, I didn't. Did you hear what I said?
No, what did you say?
Did I? You say you didn't hear me talk about Sterling?
I didn't hear the player. No, I heard City.
Ah, right. Okay, let me do. I don't know what. Do you know what? There's something wrong with my standby mode on here. Okay, yeah, I just said Sterling, and still think he's a more likely source of goals than KDB, but not by much, I suppose. But sometimes KDB has to play deeper because Silva's injured. You can still rely on him starting most of the time, particularly because Sane is out, and he's kind of flying under the radar a little bit, but he can still get the points.
Yeah.
The other person was going to be... who was it going to be? Oh, yeah, Lucas Moura.
Ah, okay.
Okay, yeah. So I think Son has still got one game left. With Ali, it's a bit weird. Apparently, he was supposed to have some sort of muscle problem today, but he still played. But we all know that Mourinho's got love for Moura, and he's got a hell of a finish on him, and he's still dangerous. So with the decent fixtures that Spurs have still got here and there, you could do a lot worse. Out of Son and Ali, he's the cheapest. Eriksen doesn't really get in a game, so Lucas Moura, there you
Good
go.
shout.
Yeah,
Good
for
shouts.
free. You can have that one for nothing. All right, then. Okay, I think we knock it on the head there. We've been talking for about an hour now.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for taking part. It's time of the year where everybody would just rather be drinking and partying and falling asleep and not changing their team or using their wild card. I'm not naming any names. So it's just left for me to say, everyone, I hope you enjoy your new year, and that's a goodbye.
Have a good New Year's, guys, and speak to you again in 2020.